What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe, and 2018 is coming to an end, so as you guys know, it's time for a bunch of top 10 action figure video lists, and I always have a lot of fun putting these things together. So today I wanted to share with you my top 10 Marvel Legends figures of 2018, and I do have a couple of disclaimers before we get into the fun stuff. First off, I don't buy every single Marvel Legends figure that comes out. I pretty much just buy the ones that I could find at retail, or ones I could find for good prices at conventions or toy shows, but I really try to avoid overpaying for Marvel Legends because that kind of undercuts the reason why they appeal to me. I like the fact that there's inexpensive Marvel figures that you could buy and handle and play with without the stress that comes with some of the other action figure lines that I collect. You know, I love Mezco, I love figure arts, but those figures are expensive and it's not always the funnest thing to handle them because you're afraid that you might damage them. You don't really have to worry about that with Marvel Legends, but if you go pay a lot more than retail for a Marvel Legends figure, that kind of goes out the window. So one figure that I really wanted to get this year, but I just could never find it for a price that I was happy paying, was the Mysterio from the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave. And I'm sure he would have made it into my top 10 list, but I just never found him. I really do hope to find him soon, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to pay $45 for him. I really hope to find him at retail. I know that they've been popping up. That wave has been popping up again, so hopefully I get lucky soon. So let's get into this. First off, I didn't put any MCU figures in my top 10, but I do want to show some love to the Thanos from the Infinity War 3 packs. For the most part, I like to get my MCU stuff from other companies. Figure Arts, Mayfix. There's so many other companies that do good MCU stuff. I really don't think that Marvel Legends does the greatest MCU things. They do okay. In the case of Thanos, he was actually almost as good as the SH Figure Arts version of Thanos. Some people would argue that he's better. I made a video comparing the two, and a lot of people in the comments say that the Marvel Legends version is a lot better. For me, I was kind of on the fence. I like both of them a lot, but I could see the argument either way, and you know, that's something that has to be respected. So I want to show some love to the MCU Thanos figure. And before we get into the actual list, I have a couple of honorable mentions. First off, I have the Spider-Punk from the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave. This figure was so much fun. I found it at GameStop one day. Wasn't really expecting to pick it up, but I decided to, and I walked around the house with it for 2 or 3 days making dumb guitar noises, and I just like this figure a lot. And over here we have Magneto from the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave. This is a really cool figure too. If it was in his classic colors, he probably would have been in my top 10, but it's still a fun figure. In the back, I have the Walmart Thanos, and he's a really nice update from the previous Build-A-Figure Thanos. I like the colors, I like the multiple heads that he comes with and the multiple hands. He's a really nice figure. And then in the back here we have Silver Surfer, which is pretty much a perfect Silver Surfer. I really doubt that I'll need another version anytime soon, so I like that one a lot. And in the center here we have the Gameverse Spider-Man. The reason why he got an honorable mention is because when he came out, everybody was trying to get him. He came out right at the perfect time. It's when there was a lot of hype for the video game, and man, my feed was just clogged with the Gameverse Spider-Man, and he's a really good figure. I love the base body that they use for him. I can't wait to get just a regular classic Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man on this body. I think that'd be awesome with a bunch of hands, throwing a couple heads, make it like a, you know, deluxe ultimate Spider-Man, whatever you want to call it, but I think that would be really cool, and this body works really good for Peter Parker. But yeah, there was the experience of getting this figure was a lot of fun. It was cool seeing everybody excited to go get this guy because the hype from the game, so I had to show him some love. So at number 10, I have one of my favorite Avengers, and this would be Vision from the second wave of retro Marvel Legends figures. And I really like the body that they used on him. I think it works perfect for Vision. I love the metallic green effect that they have on the body. I'm not crazy about some of the Marvelization look that they have on the head, but it's not horrible. That's just one gripe that I had with the figure. And I do wish that he had open hands instead of fists, or if he had interchangeable hands, that would be even better. But aside from those two things, he's pretty much a perfect representation of Vision. And at number 9, I have the Walmart exclusive Black Panther figure, and this one's kind of a surprise to me because I didn't really think I would like it as much as I do. When I first saw pictures of this guy leaked, there was like a packaged picture that was floating around online, and I thought it was fake. I thought it was a custom. I really didn't think that they would ever put out a figure that looked like this. It turned out to be a really fun figure. I had a lot of fun taking pictures of this guy, and he was just an unexpected delight. So I'm very happy with him, and they did re-release him in the second wave of retro figures, and I just wasn't as crazy about that one as much as this one. I just like the way that the pink and the black looks together, and he just photographs really well. He came with multiple sets of hands and 2 heads, so he's a really good figure, and yeah, that's why he's number 9. And at number 8, I have Bishop from the Sauron Build-A-Figure wave, and Bishop is a character that we desperately needed an update of. Toy Biz made a Bishop back in the day, but he wasn't very good. I never liked him, not even back then. I did have him, but I just wasn't a huge fan of him. So I was really excited when they announced this Bishop figure, and I think they did a really good job with it. I'm not the biggest fan of this body, but I think it was put to good use here, and they added enough things to him to make it feel different enough. So it's a really good figure. I love the head sculpt. It nailed that perfect like 90s animated series look for Bishop. So he's a pretty much a perfect representation of the character. Fans of the character should like this figure, and he's just a lot of fun, you know, a big dude with guns. That's always awesome. So Bishop at number 8. And at number 7, I have Deathlok from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, and I always thought that Deathlock was a cool looking character. I always thought that he'd make for a fun action figure, but we never really got a good version of him. Toy Biz did one back in the day, but it wasn't very good. He was very skinny and awkward looking, but this one is not skinny and awkward looking. He's buff and intimidating and just looks really cool. I like all the cybernetic parts of him. I like the way that the zombie type of face that he has like different paint and nice texture to it and everything. He's a really awesome looking figure, and I'm just very happy to have this guy. I was super excited once I got him, and I think this is one that I think people are going to forget about because Deathlock's not a super known character, and there's just been so many Marvel Legends this year. I kind of feel like he's going to get overlooked. I almost overlooked him myself. I'm glad I didn't because he definitely deserves a spot on the top 10 list. At number 6, I have the Scarlet Spider from the S.P.D.R. wave, and I know he's a lot simpler than something like Deathlock or Bishop, but this figure just really worked for me. For some reason, I just fell in love with this thing. I know that he doesn't have a lot going on, but this body works really good for Spider-Man type characters. He does have multiple hands and multiple heads, and I was just a big fan of this run of comics. I liked when Scarlet Spider, or when Kane became Scarlet Spider, and he was like confused on how to be a hero. He couldn't figure it out. He was always messing up, and he was probably the worst Spider-Man ever. He was flawed, you know, but I was into it, and I fell off from the comics, so I'm not really sure why he looks like this. He looks kind of zombie-fied or something, but I do like the look of it. It looks really cool and creepy, and it's just fun to take pictures of. So I've got a lot of love for this figure, and that's why he's on this list at number 6. And at number 5, I have Omega Red from the Sauron Build-A-Figure wave, and Omega Red is another character that was in desperate need of an update from the Toy Biz days, so I'm really happy that Hasbro tackled this one. I'd say for the most part, they knocked it out of the park. They did miss a few things, like some details on the pads and straps and things like that. I think that would have enhanced the figure a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. I think this figure looks awesome with other X-Men villains from Hasbro, and just have him, like, you know, fighting X-Men characters. Hasbro's been giving us a lot of X-Men stuff, so he fits in really nice with them, and it's always exciting when Hasbro puts out a new buck because it kind of introduces all kinds of possibilities. And with this, they finally gave us a big buck that has shoulder swivels, so that's really exciting too. He had interchangeable tendrils, which is great, and he's just a really cool, impressive figure. Number 4, I have Cable from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, and I think that this figure is a perfect representation of Cable from his 90s look, or his like first couple of appearances. He has like the big pads, he's got the the weird collar thing going on, he's got the big guns, the glowing eye, the metal arm, pretty much everything you'd need for a classic Cable. So Hasbro really did a good job with it. There are some reused parts here, but most of it's hidden, and you can't really tell. There's nothing on here that stands out as like someone else's body part or something. So this is a really good figure, and I'm happy to have a classic Cable, so that is why he is number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list, I have Deadpool from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, and I really feel like people are going to disagree with me here, but it is what it is. I like this figure a lot. I know he's basically a body we've seen a bunch of times before with a couple things added on, but I think those couple things make the figure feel different and unique enough for me to like it as much as I do. And he's just a really cool figure. He's very simple. Before Deadpool was like a unicorn riding, joke cracking, joke, he was a badass mercenary, and I think this captures that look perfectly. I do wish that he came with extra hands and different guns, all those kind of things, but he didn't, and it's okay. I think he's pretty cool as is. Even though I like the way he is out of the box, I often have him with the straps that came with the 2-pack Deadpool because it kind of reminds me of his look during the Cable and Deadpool run of comics, and I like that version of Deadpool a lot. So you know, that works out. But yeah, the figure's simple enough. You could just take the straps off, put other things on there, and he's awesome. And with this figure, I actually liked it so much that I bought two of them, one to keep in the package. I never do that, except for with Captain America stuff. I don't do that with Deadpool things, but I did it in this case because I like the figure that much. So number 3 on my list, Deadpool. And before we get into the top 2, I want to cut away to cover the Build-A-Figure because I don't really like to include the Build-A-Figure in the top 10 list. I kind of feel it's unfair. It's like its own thing, so I like to talk about the Build-A-Figure separate. So my favorite Build-A-Figure this year is by far Sauron because he's a big dinosaur. He's a crazy character, and he's just a really good figure. It's a really good reuse of parts, so I just like this guy a lot. I didn't even mind buying some of the characters that I wasn't fond of in the wave to get him because he's just such a cool Build-A-Figure. I didn't build Cole Obsidian, but he looked really cool too. He might have been in the conversation, but for me, the comic stuff's always gonna win, so Sauron gets the best Build-A-Figure award from me. So now we're down to the top 2, and before we get into them, I do want to say that not only are these 2 figures my top 2 Marvel Legends figures for 2018, they're probably 2 of my favorite Marvel Legends figures ever made. Both of them are amazing, so let's get into it. And at number 2, we have Wolverine from the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave. This guy was almost number 1, but the number 1 was too good to be denied, so Wolverine sits comfortably at number 2, and I just love this figure. This is my look for Wolverine. This is the look that I grew up with, and this thing is just awesome. A lot of people complained because they thought the ear things should have been forward a little bit, and I could definitely see that complaint, but I didn't let it bother me too much. I was still very happy with this figure, and I just love the size. I love the articulation. He's such a fun figure to have and mess with, and I think I've told the story before on YouTube, but it was just a really positive experience when I bought this figure because I was looking for him at Comic-Con, and a lot of people, that's when the wave just came out, so some people had him, but they were charging a lot of money for it. They were charging like $45 or something. I was almost gonna buy it. I decided not to, and then on the way back to the hotel, I stopped at a Walgreens and I found him there, so got him for 20 bucks, and I was all bummed out that I didn't find him at Comic-Con. I was really searching for him, so I was so happy to find him at Walgreens, but you know, that just gives me a personal attachment to this figure. As far as the figure itself, I think he's pretty much a perfect Wolverine figure. At number 1, I'm sure it's no surprise, but I have Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, and this figure is just perfect. I love this thing. I don't think there's any flaws with it. He's a perfect representation of The Thing, and he's by far the best ever Marvel Legends thing that we've ever seen. And man, just look at him. He has a perfect sculpt, perfect color. He came with 2 different heads, 2 sets of hands, and he's just awesome. He has great articulation. There's pretty much nothing wrong with this figure that I could think of, and he's just awesome. It was really close between him and Wolverine for number 1, but I had to give it to The Thing. He's just too amazing not to. And like I said, he's not only one of the best Marvel Legends this year, but he's one of the best Marvel Legends figures ever made, and I firmly believe that. So I'm very happy with this guy, and that's why he is number 1, the best Marvel Legends figure of 2018. So that's it. That's my list. Top 10 Marvel Legends figures of 2018. Please be sure to let me know what you guys think of the list in the comments. Let me know what your list is in my comments. I always like hearing people's opinions about the best figures of the year and stuff like that. So please leave that in the comments. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.